Hello, welcome to Bubble Rocks Media. It's my favorite time, the Rising Bands time. And I'm super excited to have one of my favorite bands joining me again to chat about their new EP. Please welcome Tim and Anton from The Vantages.
Of course,
Appreciate
thank you
it.
for having us back.
Our pleasure.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, we have interviewed before. And for anyone who wants context on the Vantages, please go to the Bubba Rocks Media YouTube channel. It's there. Go watch it. But look, guys, congrats on the EP.
Thank you. Thank you so
Damn
much.
good. So impressed. Not surprised, but really, really impressed. You guys are freaking killing it. And what I'd love to know, first of all, before we play a song, is was there much of a challenge for getting the new songs ready for the EP launch? Or was it smooth sailing?
Oh my god.
Well, it was anything but easy.
It was quite dramatic, like the making of the EP, because we had rented a room like already last year, and we used it as a studio, and they just started renovating the place out of nowhere, like the whole building, without telling us anything. So suddenly we're driven out of there, and then we took all of our gear to our rehearsal space, where we finished everything. And once we got back to the rehearsal space, like the room next to us, they had a faulty radiator, and it just flooded the entire corridor. So there was a lot of like guerrilla tactics involved with the making of it. I think we recorded like some of like Dramatique's vocals in your kitchen.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But eventually we got back, like the last three songs, like Automata and Love Lost and Vanishing Point, they were all done at our rehearsal space. We just liked it, and then we just ended doing it there. But I'm pretty accustomed to working in studios. I'm pretty accustomed to working not in studios, but this was really something else.
You just never know what's going to go wrong, do you?
The setbacks, like they put us like back for almost a year. Practically, the EP was supposed to come out a year ago.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Of course, it wouldn't be like the same form factor. It wouldn't have the same songs.
Yeah, and I think it was a good thing, because as a writer, I sort of checked out of like the original concept, and then stuff changed around a little bit, and it was a good it was a good turn of events, so to speak. And also, I was with all of like the technical problems that we had with the facilities. I was also going through quite a bit of a depressive bit. And it definitely did not help with it, but I did find that it reflected to some of the lyrics, especially on the later songs, which is kind of funny because they're very, for example, Love Lost, which I really like myself. I made it for my girlfriend, basically. I couldn't write for a very long time, and it was the first thing that I did once I felt a little bit better, and I sat down in front of a piano, and I just basically just happened. And so it's like this, well, not like an uplifting, but a hopeful thing.
Yeah.
I guess, because it's not so much as the first EP was about. It was this sort of grim celebration of self-destructive behavior, and this one it still like carries on the same themes in a way, but it more so rejects it more than it's like this thing of, hey, give me danger and use me up and stuff like that.
That's actually how I took it as well. When I was listening to the new EP, to me, you can feel that it is like a continuation, but almost like a concluding part to allow for like growth and hope and moving on almost. It's like that's what it gives me. I can't wait to get talking about all of this. But first of all, we're going to play the new song which lives in my head continuously, Automata. Here it is. that song.
I was going to
Is
cough.
so fun.
I've been a bit sick, so bear
A
with
wee
me.
cough is fine, so don't be worried.
It's pretty
but,
bad.
so, see, when I first heard that song, like, instantly liked it. And I love it when that happens. You guys are so good at doing that.
Thank you.
And now it's just on repeat, because I know we talked about this before, Tim, just with the dopamine hits that you get from songs, because I always connect with a song like on an emotional level first, above all else. But it also
Absolutely.
releases like ADHD, so it releases the dopamine. And a song that does that, I'll just on repeat. I drive everybody mad when I do it. But luckily, everybody in our house likes your music.
No,
So
I'm
they're
so
okay
glad.
with me playing it on repeat. But anyway, back to the song. Can you guys tell me just a bit more about the creative process of this particular one?
It was the last song that I did, and it was it got finished in like the nick of time. I think we had like 24 hours to spare. Not
Something like
even that.
Well, that tends to happen. Almost every one of our releases have been plagued by some sort of looming deadline.
Yeah, but
And it's like, because we don't have a label or anything, it's like entirely self-inflicted.
but that's
And we're still like
yeah, it's,
managing to push ourselves to the limits.
yeah. And when you're like in the depths of it, and you feel like, oh fuck, why am I doing this? And you can just look in the mirror and say, it's all you, baby.
Like, surely it wouldn't be like too bad to like push back the deadline. Like, our listeners would understand in that scenario, but no, we can't have that.
Yeah, but I mean, the song, I was a bit sick when I started writing it, and I had gotten Vocaloid just to, basically muck about with it. And I had this idea if because I couldn't sing at the time, and I was on a very tight schedule, and I needed to get it done. And it was also on me because there was another demo that we had. It was an instrumental. It was pretty far along actually, and in the end, I had made the clip of what you hear on the track like just up to before the first verse starts, and I just told everyone that I just think we should do that one. It would be a better one to do, and the EP kind of misses like an opening track. So we did it, and I started writing the top line and everything, like the melody and stuff with the Vocaloid, just for giggles, and with full intention to replace it with my voice later in the game when I'm feeling better. And when we started recording it, especially the chorus, it sounded horrible. When I sang all of it, it was like this Red Army choir sort of thing. I just remember we were at the like workspace. I just had my head between my knees, like, oh my god, this is horrible. I don't know how we're gonna. It went because I finished it in, I think, like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
From beginning to end, like all the production and everything. So I went like multiple times a day. I had this feeling of like, this is such a great track. And then like instantly 5 minutes later, I was like, oh my God, we can't release this. And it just kept happening until it ended on a good note. And I was like, cool, let's do that. And for the Vocaloid thing, we just figured, after having the Red Army choir thing happen, we just figured that why not just leave it in, because it's pretty cool. And the idea of it.
Does the final mix have like your voice mixed in at all? Like in the
a
chorus?
little bit. It's like 50-50. It's there, and I read through like the license agreement for like 50 times to make sure that we can actually even use it on the track. But we could, and it was I really like it. It was like one of my favorites. It was also really inspired by a K-pop song that I will not mention, but if you know, you know. And the name came from a game that I really like. It's called Near Automata, and it was just.
Do not open yourself to information.
But it was just like when I made the demo, it was the working name of the song, and by the time I got to writing lyrics, I got really attached to the name. I just decided to write around it because I really wanted it to be named that and included in there. And I just brainstormed a little bit, and that's what we have.
Love it. I love the wee stories behind them. They're always fun to hear. And like that's the other thing I like about you guys is that you're not afraid to experiment and, you know, try new things. I mean, like even Bowie himself did say, be full of yourself. Eventually they will get it. And,
Yeah,
you know,
and the whole thing of
authenticity.
like,
Yeah. Authenticity, I always feel, is what fans will always be drawn towards. And the other thing that I want to ask you guys is I get like loads and loads of DMs from like brand new bands starting out who want me to ask bands like you guys for advice. And one of the most common things that I've seen recently is that bands feel like they have to be perfect right now. You know, no experimenting, no evolving, just you have to have it right. Line up, songs, signed, everything. But it's not realistic at all, you know, and I think that the growth and involvement of a band should be done that way. I think it should be a way to go. So what can you guys advise to these kids just to let them know, like, guys, chill, just get out there and have fun?
To be honest, I think we're not the most laid back guys when it comes to that. like surely if we release something subpar, we could just delete it and it wouldn't like, maybe the super fans would have it like in their walls and stuff like that, but I believe it wouldn't come back to haunt us. But
yeah, but I mean,
having said that, I think like you can, it doesn't have to be as polished when you first come out with your stuff. I'd say, like, strive to be the best you can, strive to record and produce and mix the song as best you can, but do not get stuck in the limbo, because you are gonna get better at it, and you are gonna like get better budgets and facilities down the line
absolutely.
to like
Yeah, and like you don't. It would be a horrible situation if the first like single or the first record you put out is your greatest one. Because what on earth are you going to do next?
That's a good point.
You know, because it's you're always going to start somewhere, and your favorite bands or artists, you don't really, especially well, maybe nowadays you get to hear more of the earlier and more demo-y stuff, but like. You don't really hear the point zero up to like when it's actually released, and you just gotta embrace the suck, so to speak, because it's you know it's going to be hard, and it's going to get easier. Well, it's always going to be hard. At least for me, I've just it is hard for me, but then when you do it long enough, you get these emotional tools to help you work around and work with it being very hard. So basically that's a very long-winded way of saying just embrace the suck, and it's going to be better for sure.
And practice makes perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, what is perfect?
Ooh, now we're getting deep. I knew this would come. Yay. I'm curious, what is, out of all your songs so far that you've released, your favorite to perform the most, each of you?
You go first.
We only played it this one time, like 2 weeks ago. Like, but I think Automata is the most fun to play at the moment, at least for me, because there's an easily digestible riff. I can play the fuzz part, and the other guitarist like deals with the harder part, which you have to like really focus on. That's usually I shotgun the easier parts in the song, so I don't have to like stress too much live when we split up the guitar parts.
I mean,
or live performances.
Did you say that you want to do like the whole Jamie Cook thing of having a career of playing just with one finger and just going?
That's how I play the guitar, one finger.
Yeah, but
it.
it's so cool because you know you just need a ton of delay and reverb, and then it's indie rock.
Yeah, but
That's what we're about.
my choice is Automata because I don't know. It felt right playing it the first time live.
No, I think I agree because it's the one. Like, the other songs we've been playing them for, we've been rehearsing them for very long. So Automata has this. It's fresh, it's new, it's nice, and it's very different. And it had this sort of like the bridge has this sort of K-poppy thing, and I'm not really. It was the first bridge that I've done, which is like a solo spot for vocals. So it was pretty cool, and also nerve-wracking because it's pretty hard to do falsetto when your heart is racing, and it's about to come out of your chest, and you're trying to look all like tragic and sexy and hot, and then be like have this sultry fucking soft thing going.
You're just trying to do too many things at once.
No, yeah, but when I get there, it's my thoughts are basically just breathe and try not to pass out. And the third one, mind you, where did I put the water?
Well, the time code keeps running.
Yeah, absolutely. The click.
It doesn't matter if you're on the stage or not.
The click track doesn't wait for anyone.
Actually, speaking of performing, you did just recently play Tuska. And for those of you who do not know, Tuska is a massive festival in Helsinki. And I am going there next year. Oh,
Ooh.
I cannot wait. Anyway, congrats on that. I heard it went so well. I saw that on the socials. And I'm just curious, what was is there a memorable moment from it, like a defining moment for you guys when you performed that time?
Oh, we played a K-pop cover at Tuska Festival. It was such a funny thing because there was like in like on like the stage that we played at, there was 500. More than 500, like very, very sweaty, like metal dudes, just absolutely bouncing ass to it. We played a cover of Tim's song "Move," and because we're not basically a metal band per se, and we were playing this renowned metal festival. Of course, we're not going to say no, but we thought that we should probably do something like metally. And it was either that or like Van Halen or something like Dimmu Borgir or something like that. And then we just went with the K-pop one. And also we performed Love Loss for the first time. And I had a heart, like an anatomically correct prop heart that was dripping with blood. And I just came with it on stage and gave it to someone in front row.
Cool.
It started out as this like, kind of as a joke with the K-pop thing. It's a metal festival, so we're gonna have something. And but then the more that I thought about it, it was very pretty in a poetic way. So we did that on our latest show as well. We're probably gonna keep doing that until our makeup artist Laura just gets tired of hand making the thing.
Yeah, we should probably invent some way of like mass producing the hearts.
Yes, if anybody's listening and has a heart company, please contact us. We need a bunch of hearts.
That would work for merch as well.
Yeah. True.
I have more ideas for you later. Well, not from me, but from a fan who DM'd me. But we're going to play another song, and this time we're going with Darker.
Do you want a dark night? Do you want it harder, baby?
Okay, so that one is actually a favorite in this household too. We love that one. But what is your favorite thing about the song?
Do you want to go first?
I actually like the fact that you stated we aren't a metal band. When you listen to the song, the guitars are really like lightweight, but they do hit like they hit hard because everything's lined up. Like there's the proper tone, even though they're mostly like clean guitars. That's what I like about the song. It feels like a hard-hitting metal or rock song, but it has very little like distorted guitars.
Yeah, it's heavy in like a Black Sabbath way. Like it's a lot less distorted than you'd think it would be. That's the same thing with Queens of the Stone Age too. There's a lot less fuzz going on that you could imagine.
We could do distortion, but like it's not that we don't have the distortion boxes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's always like interesting to find alternative ways of doing it rather than the obvious.
Yeah, just playing like just power chords. And for me, I really went ham on the production with said guitars and the synth side as well, because for the latter part, like already on when we were doing Darker, oh my god, I was listening to a lot of like older PlayStation 1 soundtracks of Japanese games, so there's a very, very specific tone of synths that were used, and a lot of I think there was like 90s like JV 1080s there, and like Rumpler synths and all kinds of digital things, and I really, really like that. And also I played the arpeggio on the chorus on guitar. I did a lot of guitar work on the whole EP, but it was really, really, really hard to play. It's surprisingly hard, and but it was very pretty, and I thought it was very like an anime thing to do, because I really wanted that on the whole thing.
I suggested just put a capo on it and just try not to contort your hands in this weird shape. But no, he went the jazz way.
It's the jazz way. Always the jazz way. You gotta.
Well, like, see, when I mentioned that I was interviewing you again, my DMs blew up like I've never seen before. Like, people went nuts. So you definitely have a huge following here now in the UK. And a lot of them are like fans, and then there's ones who are fans, but they also have new bands, and they look up to you guys, so they want to ask band type questions. And one of them, it was actually related to the Darker music video. It was actually a few people asked me this one to ask you guys. They love the video, and they want to know if you have any tips or tricks for them to create a cool video, but on a very low budget for like a brand new band starting out.
Ask a lot of favors. We've done all of our videos. I think the max amount of money we've spent on it has been like 200 euros, because we had to borrow something like a camera or a lens, a specific lens that we were going for. I mean, yeah, it's a lot of favors. So if you know somebody, if like that was Darker was filmed in like this in a kitchen, basically. It was a restaurant that was under renovation, so and nobody was actually working on it at the time. So I knew the owner, and I just called them and I was like, hey, can we use it for the weekend? And then we could. We had like one day, and we just went in and we shot it. We had a whole ass idea of doing this One Car Y thing with Cody, who's our videographer. And because we're both fans of the movies, we really wanted to make this like Fallen Angels type of thing. And like I was calling up a guy who had the same CD player that was in the movie and everything, and then it just fell apart because we had to do it. Something happened basically. We had an opportunity, so we had to make it very quick. And it didn't end up going anywhere. So in the end, it became quite different than what I, as a director, what I had in mind at first. But it went pretty good. But I digress. I mean, it's if you know a guy who's half bad with a video camera, that's already you can do it, and you don't even need a fancy camera. You don't need, if you want like a VHS thing or even like a 8mm film thing or whatever, you want it a bit grungy and filmy and whatever, you can do that on a computer. And you can shoot it on an iPhone if you so wish, or whatever phone you have.
Yeah, and was it DaVinci Resolve, which is a really professional editing program that's free of charge, so we use that a lot.
Yeah, it's basically it's the stuff that people cut the Hollywood blockbuster movies on. There's a free version of it, and it has everything. It's very intuitive. If you know how to work a DAW, you can work that as well.
I don't.
So just yeah, but I mean it's and there's a lot of resources online, and what you really need is just an idea, and especially when you're starting out, you have time. You have a lot of time to experiment. It doesn't have to be ready next week. Nobody's breathing down your neck about, how is it going? We kind of need it for this and this, and so just do it. And if it doesn't turn out right the first time, you can always scrap it. You can shoot it again, and really have fun with it. Because for me, it's been really fun. I mean, I know fuck all about being a director, but then again, I've directed most of our videos up until this point, and edited a bunch of them as well. But that being said, I could not do it without Gotti and all of us basically. So just have a few beers with your mates, go shoot a video. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, and then let the universe do the rest. Perfect.
I don't know if
The
that was a
other-
good answer.
The other thing they asked is about your production. That seems to be a very, very popular one because obviously your sound is really good. Production, always great. And I know you do a lot of that too, and that you've used Stephen Brown for mastering. Genius. But what they want to know is obviously they don't have the funds and the money to get things like that going just yet. So at the very start, you mentioned tech stuff there for the videos. So is there like a tech thing that the kids can use to start with to get good production sound, but again, with low budget, but maybe they have a bit of a tech mind and can do it?
Just learn a DAW, and well, the fun thing is that all of the second EP was like pretty much all in the box. There was a lot of things that we did. So all of the guitars and bass tones and everything, like the amps, effects, it was all plugins basically. And there's a lot of free plugins as well that you can use, and they're pretty good. A lot of effects. Basically, you can if you have your favorite record that you have, you can go online and find a lot of info of how it was made, and then just sort of try to reverse engineer that. That's what I did when I was starting out, but I've been at it for a while. But I mean, use what you have and really learn the tools that you have, and try to do most that you can with it. And after that, just slowly just start getting it up and up. And also, if you have a friend who's super into like recording and everything, also utilize that, because it's you don't have to do everything by yourselves. There are people who do it, but it doesn't mean that you also have to. Like, your journey is your own. We do music in a pretty peculiar way, in my perspective.
Yeah, but at least our overhead is really low. Like, I'd say we can do a song, single, or an EP. Besides the mixing and mastering, which we like to outsource to more talented people than us in that regard. But the recording production itself, like €0.
Yeah, it costs nothing because we do everything by ourselves, and we've done a lot of stuff in makeshift places. I mean, like one of these, like you're using. We have the same microphone right now. It's an SM7, so both of the EPs they've been sung into this very mic. It sounds okay. There's nothing really you need. And even this is like a glorified SM57 at the end of the day, and that's even cheaper. They're built to fucking withstand a nuclear bomb. It costs like €100, something like that. It's pretty cheap as far as microphones go. And if you have a couple of those, a handful of those, there's basically nothing you couldn't do.
And then, see, when you're recording them, do you ever worry about how it translates to the live show? The
Every
recording will
time.
be like, sure.
every time. Well, yes and no. It's we use a lot of the same gear for recording that we do use live. For like live use, the guitars we use a Line 6 Helix. So there's a plugin for that called the Helix Native, and I pretty much we usually use that one. So you can copy the settings and everything, the presets that you make for your record. You can just like dump it into the hardware, and it just sounds the same. Of course, there's a lot of tweaking that you have to do because it's songs from they don't always sound the same, and for a live performance you just gotta make a few tweaks here and there. But it's pretty straightforward. We just split up like who's gonna play what, and then the synths and stuff like that we put on a backing track. Same with backing vocals, and it's just it just makes sense for us to do it that way.
It sounds poppier in the way. Like we could go the rock band route with big amps and like absolutely no backing tracks and the choir of drunken sailors behind Tim singing live. But like but
yeah.
it makes it sound poppier, which is the sound we are like chasing.
And also the thing, if you go like really balls out with synth production or like you do choirs and stuff. Not that we haven't really done choirs, but I mean the synth stuff. So if it's a part of the production, which is a big part of the song, I think it's only natural that you want it to be there live as well. And it's to get I think we'd probably need like 3 guys to play that live and a whole ton of gear.
Yeah.
Or at least 3 laptops.
And it still would probably sound like a bit like a bar band playing our songs, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like the compromises would be because the sequencers and like very peculiar tones in like backing vocals, like the Vocaloid in Automata and stuff like that. We aren't tied to like having
the Japanese lady on stage doing
Yeah.
Absolutely. And there's the thing, if you I mean I'm a big fan of a click track, especially live every time, because that also means that you can program lights and everything. It's a pre-planned thing. You can change. You don't have to change it night after night. It's just it goes on rails and it just works. And also stuff like the guys don't ever have to use. They don't have to change sounds manually because there's no pedal board that you need to be kicking. So you can do all of that by MIDI. So Anton basically has a wireless thing on his guitar, and he can just go anywhere he wants, and when time comes for a solo, magic happens and he just plays the solo without having to look at his feet. And any one moment it kind of kills the vibe.
Yeah.
It would if we didn't use that.
That's gonna be more useful when we start hitting bigger stages.
Yes.
But you make it sound like I would be at the other end of the catwalk, and like I wouldn't have.
Well, it's a rather small catwalk for now, but it's a catwalk nonetheless.
Someday.
Like I was like back to the kids again with their DMs because they'll torture me if I don't ask these. There was one based more from a band's perspective, and then one just from a fan. And I'm not mad at her idea, and I thought it was a good idea. But anyway, the band one is about merch, and they were curious. Do you start doing merch immediately? Would you advise that, or would you advise to maybe wait and build your band a bit more and then think about merch?
I would do it immediately. I mean, if you have a logo or something like that, just print a few one out. Just if you get like, I think we first had 10, 50, like 20 t-shirts, something like that. We found a place locally that we used to work with, which was very cheap. Well, cheap enough. And then we sold them. We didn't really profit from it much, but we just wanted to get our logo out there. So there's that. It's a good add to have on people if they really like your band. And there's also the thing of like, because when you're not big in the beginning, of course no one is, I'm not saying that we're big either, but it becomes this exclusive thing, you know. Like if we went back to the early 90s, before that was a thing and Anton was walking around the street with that, the people would be like, what's that? And he'd be like, oh, you know, you probably wouldn't know, it's a super cool thing. So I would do it if it's possible, and it's not that expensive at the end of the day, and just do a few. And if they don't sell, just give them out to your mates or just wear it yourself, because, you know, it's your band. It's the coolest thing ever. So just be proud of it.
Yeah, great advice. So this one is from a girl called Sarah. She wants me to say her name, Sarah, but she didn't want me to say anything else. But then she said, can you do Vantages plushies in kawaii style? Something to
First-
note down for the future.
First of all, Sarah, you're going to be a happy camper in the nearish future, because we've already thought of that. But it's not going to be with the members, but maybe a mascot. There's a lot of ideas that we want to do for next year, especially including merch and all of that stuff. But yes, it's actually being thought of, and it's not a bad idea at all. I think it's a rather good idea, if I may say so myself. What's your take on this?
Well, we're big fans of the way Japanese and Korean like bands and K-pop artists and stuff like that merchandise everything, like every single detail about them. Like they have these photo books and stuff like that about.
Yeah, like the records are insane.
Yeah.
They're insane. We have a shiny altar at home with all of the records and a bunch of other. That's Espa right there. It's a very good K-pop group. You should check it out if you don't know it.
As soon as we find a way to like make it profitable, so we can. We still don't know where to press it or stuff like that, but we're on the way of making physical releases and special ones as well.
And plushies.
Yeah.
Plushies will definitely work. Even I would want one of them. I'm a child anyway, so I would definitely
We'll send
want
one over right as we get them.
All right, well, look, we're going to play another song now. And we're going with Love Loss.
Darling, forgive me. I don't know who I'm supposed to feel when I'm with you.
What a song. Like, I was blown away by that one, I have to say. Completely blown away by it. The emotions, the vulnerability, the vocals, and then that melody. Damn. So blown away. And I know we talked about it a wee bit earlier there, but I'm curious, like, how do you feel when you're performing something as emotional as that? I know you mentioned a little bit earlier about you have to get into a mindset. And also, like, there was I can't remember what band it was, but they did mention to me about having to get into almost like a character to be able to get a song out that is that emotional and raw without breaking down. Do you have a process, or do you just go for it?
That's a very good question. Oh wow. I try to be as present as I can during the release show. Well, we played You, and before we played You, and then there was Vanishing Point, and then there was Love Loss. And for Vanishing Point, I got off stage to get a heart and drink some water and everything while the guys played the instrumental. And during You, people had the flashlights out. So they had the flashlights out, and I almost started crying because I saw a lot of people crying, and it was a packed show. And it was when I went backstage, I started crying. And I was there with my girlfriend and a makeup artist, and I came to pick up the stuff, and I was watching the guys play on the screen, and I started crying, and I was like, oh, they had the lights out and everything, and it was really, really personal for me because for a lot of cool reasons, and then right after that, I have to get on stage, be completely alone with a fucking heart in my hand, and sing Love Lost. So it's pretty hard. But then again, that's why I'm doing it, and it's also like a personal growth thing in a way. I do struggle sometimes being vulnerable in that way, and you feel very naked, and it's. I just try to tune everybody and everything out, and just try to be myself for a little moment, and it feels really, really scary and quite horrible in a way, but there's this sense of, I'm working on something and it's valuable to me. And then you open your eyes at some point and you look at the people and, oh, apparently this was valuable to them as well. And it's but I try not to look at people when that happens, because I've seen a lot of people cry, like violently in the front row. So it's a bit daunting. I try not to look, because it's one of those, like, if you cry, I will cry type of things. So I just avert my eyes. And but maybe one day I'll start crying on stage, and then people can sing the song. That would be a dream.
Yeah, actually, just recently watched a documentary about the Finnish band PMMP, and they have this legendary band which had like two girl singers, women, of course. Nowadays, they used to be very young when they started out, but like they have really, really hard topics like domestic abuse and stuff like that. And the other singer, Mira, was practically crying. Like, they had this big Olympic Stadium show last summer. Not this summer, but 2024. And it got me really emotional, like, seeing her cry, singing that song. Like, because it's a rageful song. It's not like a ballad or anything.
Yeah.
But that's something you can't, like, pretend. You can't put on a persona that's been abused. She clearly has been abused. So like, and
there's it's very empowering.
Yeah.
To look at that kind of stuff, and it's really powerful.
Absolutely. And that's what music is, really, as well. It's all about the powerful getting to your soul. You mentioned there about the EP show. We almost went over. Close. We were that close, because it was my son's close to his birthday, so we were going to just head over, but doggy sitters couldn't get it sorted. Next time. That was in on the Rocks in Helsinki, and I saw it went really, really well as well. But was there a particular highlight in the show that stood out to you? And when you were playing the new songs, did the audiences, obviously you just mentioned there about them getting emotional, but even for the other ones, like, did they react in ways that surprised you?
There was a pit of all the things.
Yeah.
Because it was the encore, and I hadn't really drank a lot of water that day, so I was feeling a bit faint. And I was backstage just trying to chug, and before we go back on, and Anton took over to buy me a little bit of time, and I think to me it sounded like you were joking, so there better be a pit, because we started playing Leather Jacket, so it was like, there better be a pit. It was like the most unpittable song, like, at least up there. And lo and behold, there was a pit. And it was really absurd. In a cool way. But people were really, really going for it. That was very unexpected. But for me, it was the lights on You when people took out, because I went to see Tim earlier this year, and he was playing in Helsinki. It was the best show that I've ever seen in my entire life, like, hands down, the best concert. In the level of, like, you keep pinching yourself, like, is this actually happening? How can that be a real person? And there was a ballad and everybody got their phones out, and the dude was basically, the stories from the front row was that when he was going back for a costume change, he was crying, and he really liked it. And I just remember being there and doing that, being one of the little lights in the audience. It was, I just kept thinking it would be so cool. Like, this is what I want to do. And that level of production and everything that was going on, that would be so magical. So that's like the thing, the dream for me. And seeing that in like in its early stages, people had their lights out and everything. So I made that connection, and it was really, the show, both of the shows mean a lot to me personally. And I was going through a hard time when I saw 10 and it was a thing that really got me a bit back up again, and reminded me of a lot of stuff, of why I do what I do and where I want to end up in life.
Sure, I don't remember the question anymore.
What stood out? What was your favorite moment in the show?
Well, we have discussed the other songs, but not the instrumental. That started out just as padding. We didn't have enough material out. We didn't have Automata or anything ready yet. So we had to invent some kind of way to, like, for Tim to have a pee break in the middle of the show and to pad the runtime out a bit.
Sure.
So we started working on it, or Tim, like, I came to Tim's place here, like, and we faffed around with some riffs and such, and nothing really came out of it. Like, maybe the general structure, there should be a fast part, and then followed by an epic part and stuff like that, or a piano part. Well, I went home and you basically worked through the whole night creating this monstrosity, because we did end up, like, replacing some parts, like the drums, which touched them up and stuff like that, but basically the demo is what ended up on the EP, the demo that Tim created overnight. So playing that is such a blast. It's intense, but it sort of, like, winds down, because there's songs such as Stairway to Heaven that ramp up to a crescendo. This one, like, starts up all guns blasting, and, like, kind of whimpers down to a very delicate piano part, which segues into Love Loss. And that's, like, my favorite part of the show, the fact that those two songs actually go together, and I don't think we'll ever separate them, at least for the time being.
Yeah.
They have to be performed together.
Yeah. I was talking to, gosh, I can't remember who it was, but he mentioned, he's a songwriter, and he mentioned that he randomly was in the shop and queuing up to pay for his food, but a melody came into his head, just like that, and he just had to abandon everything, like, right in front of the checkout people, and run off to get this melody written down so he didn't forget it. Has anything like that ever happened to you? As you know, because I've seen so many stories before and spoken to so many people, and they just say that melodies will just randomly come into your head. Does that happen with you, or do you have to invoke it?
I really do have to work on it. It's some things happen easier than others. I think Love Loss was one of those things that I just sat on a piano or in front of a piano, and then it just started happening quite by itself. I think that one went through quite a many changes.
Yeah,
in
but
the
you
end.
did have the basic structure, the chords and stuff like that on an acoustic guitar, I think.
Yeah, and, like, the melody as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but the other songs, there's stuff like Automata, which was done on the Vocaloid and, like, very, very thought out, and
I think Automata is the kind of song where if you take out one part, it will fall apart. The charade will be exposed. But like some songs are puzzles, and some are, as Tim described, the regular singer-songwriter type of thing.
But for me, I don't really. It's more lyrics for me that are a thing that I just have to drop everything and write it down when I get a good idea. But I do it on my phone, so I can walk somewhere and I write like 15 things down and refer to that later. But melodies, it's not usually. If I got something like that, it's usually pretty bad. But if it's really good, I know that I'll remember it. Because if you can't remember it 2 hours from now, was it really that good? You know, it's a fair point.
It is.
Good
At
point.
least you can like explain it to yourself.
No harm done.
All right, well, look, we're going to play another song, and this time we're going for Dramatique. And I actually have to mention this one because, like I said, my DMs went nuts, and a lot of them are UK-based fans, and they're all asking me to ask, when are y'all coming to the UK? Will that happen anytime soon?
We're working on it. I can't promise anything, but please believe me when I say that we're really, really working on it for next year, and we're looking into possibilities of what we can do. We really, really want to come to the UK, and we're planning on that and some European stuff as well. It's very much still in the early works. There's a bunch that we have planned for next year. We might also go to Japan or might not. We don't know yet. But we'll tell you as soon as we know. But we're coming as soon as we can.
There you go, guys. I asked him. Oh my gosh, we did. But look, you guys have played at plenty of big shows now, and I'm curious how you feel that your live performances have evolved from early shows to now.
Yeah, there's more people.
Yeah, I think we've played only one show where there weren't enough people in the audience to really like feel good about.
Yeah.
But like all the other shows have been in small enough places to get them kind of packed.
Yeah.
So, because it's an explosion of collective energy, you got to have the audience. I think Jorma Uotinen, who is the most legendary dancer in Finland, has a good quote about this thing, like, the audience is the most important part of the show.
I concur. And I think technically it's gotten better. It's still, in our minds, it's still ways off. There's a bunch that we want to do with the visuals and everything. But it has become this more of like a structured thing. It's starting to border on being a show rather than a gig, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
And to be honest, we haven't really played that many shows. I think we just
I counted 15.
15.
Yeah.
So it's been more because we're in Finland. There's hardly 3 cities like really, really worth playing if you're trying to build an audience. So we've mostly focused on making music and making videos, and the shows will come and then they will take care of themselves. But we've had really good opportunities as Tuska and stuff like that, and it's there is definitely a curve, and it's positive.
Awesome. And actually, speaking of performing, this is one of my favorite questions to ask bands in general, just because you tend to get a good wee story out of it. And it's, do you remember your first ever performance on a stage? Now, you could have been 5, you could have been a teenager. And did anything happen, that stuck with you but didn't stop you from still pursuing being a performer? Because when I was a kid, I was forced into dancing and I hated it. Like they just pushed me onto the stage and I'd be like, no. And no, I just won't get on a stage now. But what about you? Like, can you recall even the first time you got up on stage and performed in front of someone?
I think it was in like the third grade. We our teacher was big into like drama and part of a theater thing, so she wanted us to have this Christmas party for our class and the parents. It was kind of like a talent show. So people had plays and somebody danced and I played the guitar and I did this. I learned one thing. It was the whole Chuck Berry thing. So I went on stage like a deer in headlights and I played it. And then I started doing that every year after that. And it just got wilder and wilder. I think Children of Bodom was involved at some point. That was closer to the 6th grade than the 3rd. How about you?
Well, I think I got asked to play bass in like the 9th grade. We played Schools Out to close out this like school year on stage, and when we got this wild applause, something broke inside me. I was like, okay, I have to do this for the rest of my life now. There's no way I can become a doctor or an engineer anymore.
It's either this or plumbing, and I don't know fuck about plumbing. For me, it was I don't know. It there was that exhibitionism in it that I just kind of enjoyed. I fell in love with records more than live performing, but it's something that because I'm a very nervous person, so I've started to like it, and it's more than the necessity. I'm starting to have fun with it now, more than being,
because I think
shaky.
I feel you benefited from like thinking about it, not just like a shittier version of the album, but the thing in itself.
Yes, I used to be one of those people. So with the help of my therapist and Anton, my second therapist, things have gotten a lot better.
Look, I've got a wee fun question now for you, and it's, if you could take the Vantages to any decade to perform, would you go back in time or would you go forward in time?
Well,
Ooh.
Is it like, can we skip to the good part, to the stadiums and stuff like that?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Pick whatever you need.
Well, of course, I'm an 80s head. Things used to be better then. Budgets were bigger. What I love about nowadays is the live performance technology is much better. There's like video screens. The lighting is like so sophisticated you wouldn't even believe. Like they are constantly coming up with new stuff like every year.
It's magic.
Yeah. So that's what I like about these days. But still, like recently, I'm going to see Def Leppard next summer. I watched Def Leppard's like Hysteria live show. Like they're in the round, they set up the stage in the middle of the arena, like it's from 87 or something like that. It doesn't get better than that. Because they have like, the technology is already there. It sounds really slick and not like drugged out hippie bullshit, which I also like. I love all the Woodstocky stuff. But you got to have like... But let's just say that's not comparable to like us. But we could pull this shit off. We could pull what we do now in the 80s. Like the technology was already there.
The technology and the drugs were better.
Yeah.
So suffice to say, you would like to go back to the 80s?
Yes.
In which venue?
Let's say, I don't know, indoor arenas, because we could create a nice show there.
Oh,
with
yeah.
80s technology as well.
80s saying, well,
And drugs. Well, we don't. No, don't do drugs.
no, it's actually really bad for you. Not that we'd know. I mean, for me, the future, the past. I don't know. I really don't know. Probably the future, and I want it to be 5 years from now, and I want it to be a sold out Tokyo Dome.
Nice.
See,
See,
brains. I'm quick on my feet.
It is time for another song, and it's actually one of my faves, and it's from the first EP, and that is Danger. And we're back. So, moving on, and we're going to have to wind this one down soon. But what are you guys most proud of so far on your Vantages journey?
Probably this EP.
yeah, I love when you put both EPs together. They kind of become bigger than the sum of their parts.
Yeah.
So I put them on a playlist on our Spotify profile, like the Vantages discography. So that it's not much, but it's something. We're gonna keep adding songs.
It ain't much,
To
but
the-
it's the honest work.
We're gonna keep adding songs to the playlist, of course, as time goes by. But like when I saw the songs in one playlist, they really made sense. It's like a pseudo album in itself.
It was designed that way. Even when we were doing the cover, we refer to it. It was made by Ida. And she's a very, very talented photographer.
Very
Um,
talented.
And so we basically wanted to have it, for them, even the covers, to have this same mood or atmosphere to it. I hate the word vibe, so I try not to use it. But like this spirit, and it just really worked. And it's a transitional piece in that sense. It ties off something that began with the first one, and it has I think Love Loss is a very beautiful credit song in a way. You know, roll the credits and let's see what's next. And that's something that we full well intend to do. It's because we, you know, I said, like, in an interview, like, I think like ways ago, when it was something about like what kind of music we would be making in the future, something like that. And then I said, well, maybe our third record is a disco record. Nobody knows. And I really wasn't kidding about that. We're not going to get Bee Gees next yet, but there's a lot of stuff that we want to explore, and it's sort of been a bit soft launched in the second one. But I think I'm really proud of what we did, and I'm proud of myself as a songwriter, because it was very, very hard, and as a producer as well. It was. I think I finally proved to myself that I'm worthy. You know, in that sense, that I don't feel any. I feel comfortable doing it now, way more than I used to. So
Yeah, which is
it's-
actually cool as well, because that's another thing that I get a lot from the new bands. You know, they go like, when do you know that you can recognize that a song is good, you know, without having the imposter syndrome and things like that. So it's, you know, they're just like, how do you recognize that it is going to be a good song? You know, and I guess a lot of it is maybe to do with confidence.
Yeah, yeah. I'd say so, and you can make things. How would I put it into words? It takes a bit of time and songs to get to a point where you're very comfortable with just being who you are, and sort of chasing that instead of whatever else. and it comes with time, and it comes with work, and it's all right. It's everybody changes. We grow older. We gain more experience of things, and it changes our perspective of ourselves, of life, and everything. Not to get all like Shakespearean here, but and it's okay for things to change, and it's okay for things to take time as well.
Nice, well said. What can fans expect from you guys from the future? Is there anything you're working on that's coming next?
Yes, but I can't tell you yet. We might or might not be heading into pre-production very soon again. So
Ooh.
it will take a bit of time. But we're doing something for next year. We're planning on something longer rather than shorter, if you catch my drift. And there's a lot. We want to change things around a bit. So it's not going to be the disco record, but it's going to be disco adjacent. I don't know. I'm lying. I know exactly what it's going to be, but I can't say it. But I'm very excited about that, at least. Like, extremely excited.
I'm excited when you are excited.
And that's rare. That's very rare.
He's like, his mood dictates a lot.
You make me sound horrible.
No, but that's in a positive way. When you're like excited about something, it's really easy to get excited about it as well.
Okay,
it's not
fair
like
enough.
you put us down or anything. I don't mean it like that.
Well, look, we're going to actually be playing out with the instrumental. And I actually couldn't believe that like it was an instrumental, because when I was listening to it, like I'm big into vocals, but you know what? I'm not opposed to listening to some classical music sometimes as well. But when I was listening to the instrumental, I didn't even realize that it was an instrumental until it was over, because my crazy ADHD brain was like going, what's next? What's next? Because the way it's done, it's like it's telling you a story and musically, and you're just like listening the whole way through and not even realizing until it's done. And then me and my son, we both felt like it could be in like a new Devil May Cry soundtrack or something. It's like really good. But I'm curious as well, like when you're doing something like that, would you eventually do more instrumentals? Or do you think it'll just be that one?
I think I'd want to make more.
Yeah, possibly, because we could iterate like variations on a theme in a way.
It's like, for me, I'm really, I really like it. It was, we had like Anton spoke earlier, we had a situation where we needed more music, and then I just basically pulled it out of my ass. But it was like my prime ass pullage moments in that sense. But I mean, to be serious, it started out with I'd made this like audio art thing basically for myself that I did actually right here at my house with my girlfriend.
I actually like, it's the part you hear in the intro, like the low synth drone with the whispers and stuff like that. And I was like, this is really cool. We could use it like a segue or of sorts on the album or the live show. And Tim was like, mate, not everything is supposed to be like for this project. This is just for myself.
Yeah. And in the end, I was like, well, fuck it, let's make it into a track. So I made the thing, like the original thing that you hear, maybe 20 seconds of, or whatever, the whispery bit in the beginning. It's originally like, I think 2 or 3 minutes long. It doesn't really change much. But I did that when I was extremely, extremely depressed. And it's half in English and half in Japanese. And there's words in there. Basically, it's about the exploration. It's about like, where are you going? and I don't know, and who's there, and I can see vanishing, and it's the vanishing point, and and then I was quite content with it being what it was, but it made me feel many away, and then we needed a track, and I got encouraged to do it, and then I just went ham on it, and I basically wanted to spell out all of the different things that it made me feel. And in conjunction with Love Loss, it's, I just, to me, they're one thing as an item together. Yeah, it was, I really liked it. And, it's pretty out there as well. Because, Japanese stuff, and there was a lot of minor nynths and drum and bass stuff and everything, and I got really deep into programming the drums, and I showed it to Henk, and Henk was our drummer, and he was like, "Oh my god, how am I ever supposed to play this live?" And I said, "I trust you, man, you can do it," and do it he did in the end. And he was the one who really got the shit end of the stick with that song. Yeah. But it was, and because I pretty much made it myself wholly. So when we rehearsed it for the first times, and it was playing in the room, and the guys were playing it, and it felt really nice not to have any part with it anymore. And in a way, when I was younger, I used to do music by myself. I didn't have any friends that were into any band stuff, so I always kind of dreamed of a moment of being able to be in a room with people, or let alone play a show with a band and everything. So it was like, it kind of reminded me of that, and a lot of things. It's a very emotional thing to me, even though it's just an instrumental, but it made sense, and I really like it. I'm pretty proud of it as well.
As you should be, because it's freaking awesome. So final question before we play Vanishing Point, and that would be, what do you hope that the fans take from your music now, as well as 10, 20, 50 years from now?
I hope it makes you feel the way that it made me feel. Or in a... I hope it makes you feel something. Be it whatever it may. And 10 years from now, I hope it's still the same thing. It's I'd be really honored if we can be a part of somebody's life soundtrack and do that, because that's when it becomes a bigger thing than the sum of its parts, as you said.
Yeah, I think it's not for us to say, in the way. We don't like to talk up about our music, like talk it up anymore. Like, let it speak for itself and let it be out there.
And I think Gary Oldman said it. He had a good bit about, like, but it was more of like how people, like, thinking of what people think about you yourself, and then he had this thing of, like, it's not even my business. It's none of my business what people think about me. So in a way, that's what I also feel about the music. But in that sense, I hope you make your own opinions on it and what it means to you, and you connect it to it with your own way. I know exactly what I'm talking about in everything, but I would rather not, like in the lyrics, but I would rather not open it up that much, because it would kind of kill some of the magic. There's still a thing, it's deliberately done in a way that someone else could get something away from it as well, and not just me. And when somebody connects with it, then it, then there's me, and then there's that person who connect with it, and suddenly there's a little string, and the more people you have, the more strings you get, and then suddenly it's a painting.
That's a really nice way to put it, actually. And look, guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me tonight.
Thank you for having us.